What's the first thing you feel when you look at this painting? Lonely? Curious? Or like you just swallowed a big spoonful of Depression Toast Crunch? That reaction isn't random. It's engineered. Andrew Wyeth used smart composition to mess with your emotions and broke all the so-called rules while doing it. So how exactly does an artist control what you feel? Or where you look first? Hey guys, it's Matt from RetroSupply, and today we're breaking down 7 powerful composition tips, using inspiration from Andrew Wyeth's iconic Christina's World to show you exactly how to build scenes that immediately grab your attention and never let go. Let's dive in. Tip 1. Study the masters. Let's talk about stealing, tastefully. Study the old masters. I mean painters, real deal, dead as dirt genius types. For my piece, I looked at Wyeth's Christina's World. Now there's no robots or aliens here, but the composition, oh baby. Look how he places Christina low in the frame, pulling your eye uphill towards the house. The slope of the hill acts like a visual slip and slide for your eyes. The negative space screams loneliness. He even subverts the rule of thirds, which we'll talk about in a minute. By not placing the house in one of the intersections, the eye naturally goes to an empty, barren patch of grass, adding to the feeling of isolation. So when you're building your scene, ask yourself, where's the eye going? And if the answer is nowhere in particular, congratulations, you made a mess. Tip 2. Create focal points. As we all know, guys, the viewer's brain these days, we got lazy TikTok, brain rot brains. So you gotta give your piece some visual hierarchy or the attention's gonna bounce. Focal points are how you do that. They're how you control attention. So you should be using size, contrast, and lighting to make things really pop. They're how you control the story, okay? They guide the viewer's eye. In my piece, the main focal points are the robot, obviously, and the building. Let me break it down a little more. So the robot dominates the left third of the page. It's large, it's detailed, and it's placed right in the foreground. The line weight is thick. It's thicker than the rocks of the building, and there's a lot more of these harsh, stark areas of black. And the silhouette of the robot is really strong. Even the little wires that are dragging down, they guide the eye up towards the robot. And the robot's gaze then moves you right to the building. And the building, it's in the distance, it's massive, it's vertical, and once I add my colors, it's gonna be darker against the blue sky backdrop here. Its size and its sharp angles make it read just as important as the robot, even though it's farther away. And the space between the robot and the building, it's empty, it's barren, which adds to the story and it adds to the setting and the world we're living in here, but it also contrasts those focal points really well. The negative space, it builds tension and it creates a visual path for the audience to follow. You can't help but follow the line from the robot's hand from these rocks to the big building. The big building brings you back down to these rocks in the foreground, which also carry some visual weight that bounce you right back to the robot. That's what good focal point design does. It says like, hey, look at me, look over here. Because, you know, if everything's loud, then nothing is. If everything's important, then nothing sticks. You kind of have to pick and choose the areas of attention that you want your viewer to focus in on. Tip 3, rule of thirds. Let's talk about the rule of thirds. Yeah, that thing your high school art teacher was always yapping about. Divide your canvas into a grid. 2 vertical lines, 2 horizontal. Now you've got 4 sweet little intersections where the eye naturally gravitates. Put your cool stuff on those points. You get built-in visual balance without doing any math equations, because we're artists, we're bad at that. Suddenly your piece looks like you know what you're doing, instead of looking like you just sneezed onto a blank page and hope for the best. That being said, once you know the rules, don't be afraid to break them. Like I mentioned before, Andrew Wyeth pretty much said screw the rule of thirds when designing Christina's World, and that decision only added to the piece. I chose to keep the building along the rule of thirds grid, so I didn't undercut its massive scale and importance in the scene. But hey, I'm not Andrew Wyeth, and this isn't Christina's World, it's Matt's world, and I'm king. Treat the rule of thirds as more of a suggestion, and break the rules if you want to. Tip 4. Layer your scenes. So depth is what turns your flat drawing into a place that feels real. You can nail this by using layers. All your pieces should have a foreground, a midground, and a background. That's the formula. If those aren't separated well enough, then your whole piece is gonna turn into melted ice cream, man. It's kind of like you're building a little theater set or like a movie set on your page. So for my take on Christina's world, I separated it just like that, and I'll add some values to show you what I mean. So the foreground is the largest and darkest part of the piece, and that's what's going to direct your attention immediately. So the midground is going to be your second darkest element on your page, and it's lighter, it's lower in contrast, so it recedes a bit in the distance. It doesn't command as much attention as the robot does, but it's still detailed and dark enough to still ground the page, you know? And then we got our background, which is like the lightest element. And for me, that's just this wide open desert sky with these clouds. So a little cheat code is turning your canvas into grayscale. Here's a little spoiler, guys. I already colored, so I'll turn my colors back on and then flip it to grayscale so you can see what I mean. So to flip your canvas into grayscale on Procreate, you just fill a top layer above everything with black and you turn it to either hue or saturation. Both work. So yeah, your values should still be reading. It doesn't matter what colors you're putting on the page. My focal points, the robot, the building, the rocks are the darkest elements, and the rest kind of recedes into the background. If everything's the same tone, your piece will feel flat no matter how detailed it is. Don't just draw stuff, stage it. Use value, scale, and layering to kind of pull the viewer into your scene and make them feel like they're living in this world with this robot. All right, let's take a quick pause, guys. If you're vibing with these tips, hit subscribe. We got more tutorials, cool brushes, and enough retro chaos to make your tablet sweat. So smash that like button like it owes you money. Alright, back to it. Tip 5. Use diagonals and triangles. Composition is like mind control. Diagonals and triangles are visual arrows. You can use them to lead your viewers' eyeballs exactly where you want them to go, like a sneaky little art sorcerer. Take a look at how I used a subtle triangle pattern with the objects in my scene. That triangle is a focal funnel, and I used it so the viewer is following a path throughout the scene without even realizing it. Make sure every shape in your composition is doing something. No slackers. Every line should be framing, pointing, or pulling the eye. Tip 6. Build a visual hierarchy. So let's talk about visual hierarchy, guys. It's the secret sauce. It's that good. It'll make your art feel intentional instead of just a pile of cool stuff, you know? In my piece, the robot and the building are the stars of the show. They're the biggest, they have the most contrast, and they take up the most real estate on the canvas. That's not an accident. I didn't just like turn off my brain and start pooping stuff out on the page. That's visual hierarchy. If something's important, it should feel important. Use scale to make it massive, or use contrast and line weight to make it pop. These thicker lines of the robot and these larger areas of black, they command attention. They have a stronger presence on the page. The robot stands out because everything else on the page is working for it, not against it. The whole rest of my scene is leading your eye towards it, not away from it. And that's the key, guys. You want to make sure that your background isn't just random stuff. It's a supporting cast. The robot is the star of the show. So when you're laying out your piece, you got to ask yourself, who's the star of the show here? And once you know that, you should be making every line, shape, shadow support that focal point. Tip 7. Start with shapes, not details. Details are fun, but without structure, they're lipstick on a potato. Start with bold shapes. Triangles, rectangles, circles. These are the bones. In my piece, you have the robot, a heavy block anchoring the foreground. You have the building, cutting diagonally into the scene and guiding the eye. And all the rocks and debris, forming a wide base that ties everything together. When you're laying out a scene, zoom out, squint, and ask, does this still read without the details? If not, fix the shapes. Everything else is just decoration. Okay guys, we talked about theory, now let's see it in action. Roll the time lapse. And there you go. Here's my take on Christina's world, retrofied and blessed by the composition gods. Pretty cool, right? Strong composition isn't about just making things look pretty, it's about controlling the experience. So hey, if this breakdown hit your creative chakras, like it, comment something spicy, and subscribe for more retro-fueled art tips. That's it for me, guys. Stay weird, stay retro, and happy creating.